Hey guys, welcome back to Etheria Restart. In today's video, I've been doing a bit of a stress test in game on the most budget option you can do for progressing through the game. And I wanted to give you guys an update on it, give you guys some free options that if you're struggling when the game launches, you can look to. But just note, this game is going to be heavily about the units you pull. And because we get so many pulls early on, you're always going to be able to pull something to help you. As you can see here, I have cleared Hell 3, not quite Hell 4. We are on day 6 of this account. Now, we're on day 6, but this is effectively like being on day 3 or 4 of my beta account because this only has a PC client, so I haven't been able to play it as actively as I do when I have a mobile client for a game. But I wanted to show you the team that I've used to progress up until this point and the characters that I built. If we look over here, you can see I built up Gray. He was my first 6-star. He's my only 6-star at the moment. I'm almost ready to make another one. The idea was that, he's pretty decent, pretty self-sufficient with the defense decrease, crit buff, so he's going to be like main DPS, even though I consider him more of a debuffer because we're trying to not really use pulled units. We have Sanya. Now, she is the only SR that is required for this progression. The game without Sanya, when you're trying to use Dorothy, just feels bad. It's absolutely horrible. I didn't pull Sanya until like the end of day 2, and the game feels so bad when you don't have her. So I really wish they would give her as a free option because Dorothy just doesn't cut it at all. But once again, you should be pulling a lot of units, so hopefully you pick up a Sanya or something else to help your account along the way. Now, I am using number 41, who is a rare character. I'm using Asu, who is another free character. 41 has the turn meter boost with attack buff and a heal and a wound on the basic. Old mate here has a silence AoE, an AoE with dot, and then a slow on a single target. Kaz we've been using because in this progress we're trying to do Doki, so she has the AoE slumber. And then that's pretty much it. I did also build Pterod for when I was doing some Terramaton stuff because she has the strip and she has the attack defense buff. And then I also built up Victor. I did cheat with Victor. I had to build him up to get through one of the shells. I just couldn't do shells with all blue. And I did have Leon built and she wasn't cutting it. I did just reset Leon because I'm about to lose the reset event and I wanted to get those skill upgrades that you're forced to do back. So I will eventually level her back up to 5-star, maybe even 6-star. But I wanted to show you because this core team for pushing Doki has actually worked decently. Like I said, we've cleared Hell 3. It's not easy. Hell 2 we can farm. Ideally, you do want to get to Hell 3 because it gives you the chance of getting the 3 pieces of the Matrix effect on each piece. I think you still can get 2s and you can still get the lower rarity. Hell 4 is ideally where we want to get to because once again, now we can no longer get the lower rarity drops. And then Inferno doesn't come until level 50, so that is a long way away. So I wanted to have a chat about it, go through it, and then have a look at it because if you'll notice on this account, I did just pick up Tiiamat from my selector because I'm going to go ahead and build her up and see how she works. I think this is a perfectly fine place to be able to get to with a basically full free team besides Sanya. And so I think if you're struggling through the early game, there is definitely it's going to heavily depend on units you pull. For instance, if I wanted to do better at this dungeon, I have Lilith, who's fantastic for it, Kloss, who's fantastic for it, Tsukiyomi, who's fantastic everywhere. If I wanted to build a poison team, I could with Shadow Sanya. Mia, not going to be good for this dungeon, but for the other areas, great healer. So, as you can tell, and then also, I haven't been using any of the other SRs. We got Shiaki, we got Kraken. I just pulled a Marvel today. There's a bunch of good units that you can put into these teams to make them better. But once again, this is trying to be the absolute baseline of what you can use to get through it. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys through an entire run of this, but this was just me experimenting to see how hard it was to get some decent gear in the game. And once again, these are the kind of things you can use. Now, in this team, the 2 big ones that you would replace would be number 41 and also Asu, the 2 rare units. And then you can replace them, we could look to the Lilith, the Kloss, the Tsukiyomi, the Kraken if we wanted to, the Marvel, they are the ones that would get replaced for some of those units. In general, Gray is still really good for this dungeon. Kaz is still really good for this dungeon, and so is Sanya. So this was just trying to show you guys some different options that you have. And I want to go ahead and show you guys some builds that I've got on these guys so you get an idea of the kind of stat quality that you would be looking towards. So if we go over here, you can see my Gray here. He is on, you really want everyone, 200 speed minimum. Except your DPS. Your DPS can be a little bit lower, but 200 speed is huge. Now, the shell is also another huge thing. Now, over on my Tiamat account that I played through on the beta, I only needed to build up 2 epic shells to get through all this stuff and farm Hell 4. So if you don't have the units, you're probably going to have to build more shells that you won't really use in the end game. Like eventually they'll get replaced. The good thing about shells is you do get refunded about 70% of the resources you put into them when you sell them, whereas gear is only 40%. So the shells don't feel as bad to level up. But massive shout out to my man Grimmo for suggesting is basically this shark is really strong in general for your supports. It's a 2-turn speed up and gauge boost on a 3-turn cooldown. It's pretty frequent with Grey because it actually has a 1-turn delay. Grey will use his buff for himself, and then he will use his AoE, and then the shark will proc. And Grey basically gets 100% uptime if he doesn't get interrupted, which is really nice on the speed buff from this. So you can see that I've got this the shark on all of my supports here, just to try and get the faster turn cycling. On top of that, I do have decent speed. You can see we're over 200 speed here, we're over 200 speed here, and we're over 200 speed here, and same with Grey. This guy is my pseudo DPS, but I'm trying to get him up to that speed ranking as well. He also has silence, which is good for the Doki boss. But you can see that's the kind of thing we're looking at. We're trying to get our speed sets. I've got him on 8 and 8 as opposed to 12 and 8 because I'm trying to get a little bit more damage out of him as well. But in general, in this early game phase, it's just looking at trying to get your speeds up there on your characters and then worrying about the main stat on these slots. It's all speed and then the slot stat, and that is the main thing that you're really looking for to progress up. Now, these 2 pieces here, these are guaranteed drops from first clears. The main stat is guaranteed to affect accuracy, but the substats are random. This one, you can see we lucked out and we rolled 9 speed, which is fantastic, really helps me out. And this is one of the pieces that I got that just dropped in one of the dungeons. Besides that, we're on for pretty budget gear. This one was a drop as well. And then as you can see, our gear isn't anything crazy, nothing at 15 yet. We're still on plus 12s, but that's just a little look at what you can progress with, because I wanted to make sure there was like a pretty free team that people could progress with if they were feeling absolutely stuck. But like I said, from this point here, I feel like this is a good point that a completely free, besides Sanya, team can get you to. Besides that, then you are going to have to start relying on units that you pull. Once again, I've pulled so many units that would make my runs so much better. There's basically infinite options here. And I think with how many options that we do have that we can slot into this team, I'm pretty happy with it. Anyone with any account, if you get to this point, like we could log into your account and we could figure out a way to get you into Hell 3, Hell 4 farming by using some of these units. Now, another important thing is going to be your skill up priority by using your cubes. You can see here I went and did Grey. That's because he was going to be my main DPS. Now, if I was doing a Tiiamat playthrough, I probably wouldn't put anything into Grey, and I probably wouldn't invest into him because I'd probably, me rerolling for Lily, be using Lily, Tiiamat, Sanya, and then I would probably be using a controller of some sort or 2 controllers. So we'd be probably looking at something like Kaz and Kraken or Kaz and Marvel if I managed to pull him on global launch, because that's kind of what we look to with a Tiiamat team because we have true damage and stuff like that. But I did put the books into him, the skill ups into him. And then I also did max out Kaz's skill 3 as well, because we want the cooldown reduction on that sleep, because it's going to allow us to deal max damage against the Doki enemies. After that, the next one I was looking to was the Sanya passive, because this one, when we're using attacker-based units in our team and then supports that we can put defense on, well, it's healing based on her max HP, which is what we want. We want to increase that. Whereas if I'm playing with Tiamat, I kind of want to go this one first to get the cooldown reduction and also to increase the healing, because Tiamat's probably going to have more max HP than my Sanya. So this is going to be the big heal for Tiamat. On top of that, we also want the cooldown reduction so that we can get the stacking HP buff on Tiamat faster with this ability. So it kind of changes with Sanya depending on what kind of comp you're running. But Tiamat's, I kind of like going this first. Attacker teams, I kind of like doing this first. It's just kind of a bit of a balance. And then her skill 1's really nice either way to get it to a 30% turn boost. I think if you're going to be using her, she is a great healer to go and invest some skill ups into. And yeah, those are the main things. The only other 2 units that I would skill up into really early on, once again, if you're not doing a Grey strategy, you can completely skip Grey, but some other units that are really worth skilling up in the 4 stars in this early stage, if you have them, Marvel, especially this skill 3, and then we have Kraken as well with his skill 3, if you're going to be using that to control enemies. Those are also very viable ones, along with the Sanya, along with the skill 3 over here from the Kaz. So that is a look at the team that I've used to progress thus far. Like I said, I'm just farming up here to start building my my Tiamat because I'm going to test that. But once again, I think getting into this kind of range here is good enough for a complete budget team. Because like I said, by this stage, if I go ahead and show you guys before we jump into a run, if I show you we're on, how many summons have we done? Achievement, it's in development. We have summoned 300 times. Wait, we have summoned 317 times. So, you know, realistically, you'll be doing this in 4 to 5 days because I have not pushed the other areas that get us a lot of summons, which is the Echoes and the Ember Trek. I just haven't had the time to play. You can see we're only at stage 4 of this. I should be at least stage probably 18 to 20. And this one I should be probably around the same. So, you know, we're really stalling here because I haven't had the time to sit at my computer and play because there's no mobile client. But really, you should be able to do about 300 summons in 4 to 5 days if you're really grinding an account out, and by then you should have something to help you out. But let's jump into Doki here, and I'll show you guys a run on Hell 2. I think everyone's got gear on. I can't remember. I've been shuffling it around, so fingers crossed everyone's got gear. I think you would be the only one that probably wouldn't. Yeah, we already showed gear, so yeah, we're good to go. So let's jump in. And I'll show you this just as a very, very budget option for those that want. Now, my speed sinking is not there yet because obviously, you know, I'd probably rather not be waking them up straight from their sleep. But at the end of the day, the first wave isn't the hardest thing on Earth, so it's not too big of a stress. You can see there, we've already got them all at half health, which ain't too bad. And yeah, honestly, this team actually works kind of decent. Until you start getting the defense breaks, then they can start targeting some of your green units. But in general, they often are targeting number 41, who is a neutral tank. And the one thing, I didn't put any dupes into any characters. The only ones I did are my 2 rare characters because I figure everyone will have max dupes for them. Like my Kaz has, I think, 2 dupes available. My Sanya has 1 available, but I haven't put any of them in because I don't want to get the stat boosts and be like, and for this to be unrelatable sort of thing. So I was trying to do it as budget friendly as possible. And so that's why I've done this. And you can see all these guys having the shark, they're getting the speed buff. If you look at the left side, you can see 4 of them have a speed buff at the moment. The 4 that have it have the speed buff. And it's so nice being able to basically have a team speed buff in this early stage. Once again, if you are doing like the Tiiamat playthrough that I did on the beta, I got through it with a lot less investment into so many characters because it's just, you can cheese it a bit more. But, you know, if you need to put the investment in, you need to. Like, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. And this is sort of the thing. Now, this team as well, you can just sub out our rare attacker, Asu, or whatever his name is, and you can put any SSR DPS you got in that obviously isn't a red one because they're going to get clapped. And you can swap that for just about any SSR DPS. And then if we look at number 41 here, you can swap her out for just about any SSR support that you pull, as long as they're not red once again. So that was very unfortunate. We had the whole enemy team slept, and then we decided to go ahead and spout our AoE. It's not the greatest synergy, but Kaz is just so good with the 3-turn cooldown on the CC. I do see a case for where Kraken might sometimes be better as well. Kraken's, she is a lot better if you have like more single target focused damage. Because the problem is we are going to keep just waking the enemies up. So it takes a bit of a fluke to let them sleep through a turn, whereas with Kraken or something, if you do freeze them, they're frozen, but at best he has a 4-turn cooldown. And the 3-turn cooldown is great for getting us into the second wave and having that sleep earlier, because if you use Kraken's ult on the last enemy of the first wave, you're kind of in a really bad position. Whereas with Kaz, if you do it, you're still in a bad position, but you get round to CCing a little bit faster. And you can see once these guys start using their AoE defense breaks, it becomes an absolute nightmare. Now, unfortunately, we're going to go ahead and do an AoE here and wake them all up again, which isn't the greatest, but hopefully we land the silence. We didn't get the silence on the boss, which kind of sucks, but Grey does get to strip his own defense break because he uses 2 turns. And as you can see, we have defense break on that number 41, and she took that hit like an absolute boss. Like, she just soaks it up. The dupes on these guys do make a big difference in PvE, especially. So having the dupes on those rare units is actually kind of clutch in this early phase. And I also did max out her skill 2 and 3, and old mate's skill 3. I didn't show that in skill ups because most people won't be doing rare units, so it's not that relevant. But yeah, I did max out some of their skills as well to help out the run. But that is just a bit of a look at like a really budget team. like a very budget team that, you know, can get you to this stage. Once again, I could definitely 6-star all these guys. We still only have 1 6-star, and maybe if I 6-starred them all, we'd be doing better, but I don't really want to be 6-starring those rare units right now. And there you go, we get some mythic drops, HP flat, which kind of sucks. This one's not too good. It's got a bit of speed, but, you know, we're not going to roll that up because we're only looking for the mythic pieces of gear. But once again, you know, this team, I have no doubt that this team, I could get into Hell 4 farming with it. But I would have to do investment that I don't think anyone in the real world would do, which would be like taking these guys to 6-star, because at the end of the day, you're going to pull something to replace these guys. So you shouldn't need to do it. I do see like Kaz, I think she's fine to leave at 5-star for as long as possible. If you feel like you need to 6-star her, that's fine. But I really think that Gray and Sanya are the only two that I really would want to 6-star here. But like I said, I am going to move into building the Tiamat just to see how much she impacts it, because Tiamat is the one that I'm probably going to go for from my selector once I decide I've done enough summons in the game that I don't want to summon anymore, and then I'll pick her up from the selector. The other option is if I do pull her, I will wait and see what I get from the 2-week random SSR that we get from the 2-week missions. But, you know, I just enjoyed my Tiamat. I'm going to be re-rolling for Lily, so perfect pair. Anyway, guys, that is the budget playthrough update. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.